Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Heart-Mind Cohesion experience. Today, we're going to be learning about how we align our emotions with our physiology. My name is Dr. Jericho Leftwich. I am a professor of health sciences as well as a practicing metaphysician at Self-Love Healing Arts Institution. So before we get started today, I have several objectives that I want us to go over. We're going to start off by defining the why, the who, and the what, and we'll define the rest as we move through this session. But we're going to start off by our why. First and foremost, understand what is your particular why. My why is just that. My particular why is defined by my experiences as well as where I'm planning to head in my life. You also need to take a moment to ask yourself, what is your why? And then create your own personal why statement. While you're thinking about creating your why statement, understand that the goal for this session and just in general is to be able to reprogram our subconscious mind. What we have is a conscious mind or analytical thinking mind, and we have a subconscious mind which operates 90% of our day-to-day habits. Our habits, our belief system, all comes from our subconscious programming. And many of us are walking around with outdated programming. So the goal is to be able to reprogram that programming that is outdated. What that also means as we're going through this process of reprogramming our subconscious mind, we have to realize we also have what we call learned behaviors, things that we experience through our life that traditionally conditions us to believe and think a certain way. So that means what you have been doing over the last 10, 15, 20 years, it's not going to change overnight. However, consistent practice will allow you to make that change that we're looking to make for ourselves. So the goal is to, again, add tools to your toolbox so that you can, again, have the tools that you need in order to operate in this thing called life. We also need to think about who is this for? Well, it's open for anyone, really and truly, really in the truth of the matter, but it's designed specifically for individuals who are seeking mental clarity, emotional balance, and physical vitality. Great for those of you who are high stress professional, work in a stressful environment. This only takes about 12 minutes to do it. And if you can't make 12 minutes for yourself, that right there is a wake-up call for you to understand you can't pour from an empty glass. So be able to, again, put things into place in order to, again, refill your individual cups. So this is great for individuals who are very busy professionals, stress professionals, limited time, and want to be able to incorporate a tool or technique into your daily life. This is also great for those of you who are meditative practitioners, as our job is, again, to witness the many different ways that we can meditate. So this will be another tool for those of you who are currently practicing meditation to be able to utilize that tool. And last thing is the what. This is going to be a practice, again, keyword practice, that allows us to synchronize our heart rhythm with our brainwave patterns so that we can create this optimum state of flow within our physical bodies. Okay. All right, so what you are going to need for this experience. This experience will require you to, because we're going to be utilizing frequency therapy, and we'll talk about what that is as we're going through this presentation. But the goal is for you to be able to experience this and immerse yourself into this experience. And so with that immersive experiences, headphones are required for this particular experience, specifically the noise cancellation headphones with the cushions in itself. Yes, you can utilize earbuds, but the preference will be these noise cancellation headphones, and we'll talk about why that is important in our upcoming slide. So you're going to need some headphones for that. Those of you who do have noise sensitivity, I ask that you adjust the volume of the volume settings, as well as you can also tilt your headphones at different angles to receive a different quality of soundness as well. So those of you, again, who are suffering from, who experience noise sensitivity, those are ways in which you can bypass some of the frequency by adjusting your sound as well as angling your headphones. Okay, I am going to include the link to the guided meditation in this particular session, but here's the QR code for those of you listening to this on your laptop computer. You can go ahead and scan the QR code and utilize the QR code to open this up on your cell phone and connect your headphones directly to your cell phones. I'm also going to play it here on this live demonstration. However, because we are utilizing frequency therapy, from the time that it leads from my computer going through the wavelengths to reach your computer, there's going to be a lot of distortion in the feed in itself. So the quality is not going to be as high of a quality because it's going through so many different mechanical issues from my computer to your computer. So I highly encourage you that you bring this up on your own personal device, your laptop or your cell phone, and connect your headphones directly to that. When we get to that session, I will count us all in, and so we all start together and experience this experience. Okay. All right. So that's just your prep work. Go ahead and get those items prepared so that when we get to that session, you are ready to go. Let's actually talk about what heart-mind cohesion is. Okay. So by definition, heart-mind cohesion refers to this harmonious state where the heart, the mind, and the emotions are balanced, producing a physiological rhythm within us, right? When we synchronize the heart rhythm with our brain activity, we create this unified, balanced internal state. It also improves our emotional regulation, allowing us to remain calm during stressful events. Hear me when I say the outside world is very stressful. Everything that is going on in our world is very stressful, right? However, you can't control what's going on in the outside world, but you can control how you respond to that chaos that is going on. We always can empower ourselves. We can't influence what's going on in the outside world. So the goal is to be able to emotionally regulate when we're living in a chaotic world so that it can allow us to be more calmly in our responses. We also want to be able to enhance our cognitive function. We want to be able to clearly think. We want to be able to clearly make decisions for ourselves, right? At the end of the day, the job is to, again, understand the decisions and choices. If you are in a situation that you do not like to be in or is unfavorable for you, it is because of your choices and the decisions that you've made to get you into that particular situation. You are the only one who has done that, right? Now, with that same breath, though, the choices that you made to get you to that environment is the same choices that you can remake another choice or make other choices for yourself to get yourself out of that decision. But it again starts with you having clear ability to think and make better choices for yourself. And as well, we also are able to regulate our heart rate variability, which is one of the indicators that we use in order to look at cortisol level and look at stress within the physical body. The science behind heart-mind cohesion states that we can reduce stress by 60% when we practice heart cohesion, improving our cognitive performance. So again, that heart rate variability, that indicator that we utilize to measure cohesion and automatic balance. We have a nervous system, which we'll talk about that. But in that nervous system, we're going to be looking at the autonomic nervous system, specifically activating that parasympathetic branch, that rest and digestive branch that we're trying to seek to accomplish. When we also synchronize our heart with our brain, we can notice what we call alpha waves, which is the wave of relaxation. It promotes relaxation in the body. So the goal is to be able to increase ourselves in our ability to shift from a beta to an alpha wave standpoint. And then, of course, also neuroscience says that consistent practice over long periods of time will improve emotional regulation. So the goal, again, is to bring in a consistent practice. Benefits of heart-mind cohesion. Why does it matter? First and foremost, we want to be able to, again, take advantage of the power that we can particularly hold in our day-to-day lives, especially over a chaotic world. Remember, you can't control the outside world, but you can control how you respond to the outside world. And emotional resiliency gives you the ability to manage stress and recover from challenges. Hear me when I say you will experience challenges in your life, but how you navigate from that experience says more about you than the experience in itself. And so we need to be able to realize that we live in a chaotic world, but how are we going to respond to that chaos? How are we going to manage the things that are going on in the outside world so that it doesn't, again, affect our internal processes? Mental clarity. We need to be able to improve our focus. We need to be able to make better decisions for ourselves. And of course, overall cognitive function so that, again, we can thrive and be the best version of ourselves. Cardiovascular health. Our heart pushes blood to our extremities. So the importance of our heart is very essential in order to support ourselves as well as to reduce anxiety levels within our body. And of course, energy levels. We all want more energy so that we can do the things that we love. So we need to be able to foster a greater sense of vitality and balance by, again, improving our overall well-being. And again, I will say, practice, practice, practice. The small steps add up to the bigger picture. And practicing cohesion regularly will allow you to thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. How you show up in this world is really truly dictated by these two particular energy centers. And we're going to talk about that as we're moving forward in this session. How does one cultivate heart-mind cohesion, you may ask? Well, first and foremost, we can do focused breathing. Breathing is one of those things that, again, governed by the autonomic nervous system, but shifts us into that parasympathetic, where, again, we go into that rest and digestion. So by just simply focusing on our breathing and slowing our breathing down, we can bring and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. We can also practice meditation and mindfulness practices, which, again, regularly practicing mindfulness and meditation will allow for us to quiet the mental chatter and bring more emotional balance to us. Positive emotional activation by simply cultivating gratitude, which is the highest frequency that we can achieve. Gratitude. If you can't appreciate what you have, can't make room for what's more to come, right? So having gratitude, having appreciation, not only for yourself, but for others. Compassion is very essential, right? To allow us to, again, synchronize our heartbeats and just, again, how we show up and view this world. We can also utilize the biofeedback tech tools such as heart rate variability. We can use mobile tracking apps. All of these things can be used to guide our coherence practices. And again, you hear me say it again, practice, practice, practice. The small steps, regular sessions will give you, over a period of time, the ability to, again, have mental resiliency, in which, again, you are going to be experiencing stress. So how are you going to show up through that stress, right? So this will be a consistent practice that you can add to your daily routine to allow yourself an opportunity to build that resiliency that we all need. So one may ask, what is frequency therapy, right? So frequency therapy utilizes specific sound vibration to resonate with the body cell and its energy centers. So you, as an organism, if I was to take your cells and break it down onto the atomic level, your atoms have a protons, neutrons, and electron, which means they are constantly in flux. They're constantly vibrating its energy out. And because every cell has an atom that is in constant vibration and state, that means you, as an organism, as a human, has your own individual energetic frequency that you vibrate out every single day. Your emotions, energy, and motion plays a huge role on the frequency in which you're vibrating out. Frequency of love, optimistic, gratitude, appreciation are higher vibrations of energy. Energies of fear, guilt, shame, manipulation, control, envy are all at a lower vibration of energy. And so we're constantly vibrating out energies every single day, depending on the mood and the energy in which we are embodying. And frequency therapy allows you to facilitate the cellular communication so that you can tune into your nervous system and getting to that natural harmonious state. We can utilize sound forks for that, tuning forks, to be able to utilize frequency therapy. We can utilize sound bows. And for today's session, we're going to be utilizing our headphones with a frequency of 1100 hertz, as well as 77 hertz. That is going to be the frequency that we're going to be using for this one. But there are other frequencies too that we can use depending on what type of ailment we're trying to address. For this particular session today, we're going to be utilizing 111 and 777 hertz for today's experience. Frequency therapy works through a process called entrainment, where the brain internal rhythms synchronize with external stimulus, right? So as you're perceiving this information and hearing me talk to you, we are currently in a beta wavelength. Beta wavelength is our resting brain wave, where we're in alertness, concentrating, and thinking. When we practice breathing exercise, or when we practice frequency therapy, we are able to shift our body from its natural beta state into an alpha state, which alpha is known for its meditative, creative, and relaxation state. And as we're continuously in that alpha state, we can downshift towards a theta state where we can actually really truly reprogram the subconscious mind through visualization, through a trance, through a dreaming state in itself. And of course, in deep sleep, we can move over to that data standpoint, the data state. But the goal for us for this session is to shift from a current active beta thinking logical standpoint to an alpha meditative relaxation state, and ultimately shifting into that theta state where we're able to shift the programming that we're going into. So frequency, again, like I said, shifts the different states of our brains. Again, we are trying to achieve the alpha wavelength is where we're trying to go. So let's define the when, the why, and the how, okay? Now, granted, there is no appropriate time to do this. The great beauty of this exercise is that all you need is just a pair of headphones and a device where you can connect to a YouTube channel. So you pretty much can do this any and everywhere that you want to do this at, but there are some practical or some optimum times that we can utilize and benefit from more of that subconscious reprogramming. So pre-waking and pre-sleep time will be good for that one. We'll elaborate that on the next slide. The why, again, going back to the first objective. Understand what is your why statement, right? The why is going to be different from all of us, but the real truth, the why is to reduce cortisol level and to abuse our immune system. And most importantly, again, reprogram those subconscious belief systems. Things that happened 10, 15, 20 years ago, if we're still operating out of that same energy, that means we are running old programming, and we need to be able to, again, detach from that old programming and create a new programming that aligns us to more successful, not keeping us in the same cycle, but shifting us into a better cycle. And that is, again, called subconscious reprogramming. And then how we're going to do that? By utilizing our breath. So breathing is going to be one of the things that we're going to do, focusing our intentions, as well as embracing and utilizing frequency therapy for this particular session. So the when is the optimum time for heart-mind cohesion practices? Well, the best time, or one of the greatest time to do this, is in that stage where you're, when your alarm clock is about to go off, but you quite haven't rolled over yet. You're quite in that semi-lucid standpoint. Your brain is in a theta stage at this point, which is a great way, and it's the gap between the conscious mind and subconscious mind. Remember, 90% of your day-to-day actions, your belief system, your habits, all come from your subconscious mind. You automatically respond based off of your subconscious programming. And again, if you are someone who's not consciously aware of what's going on, you are playing out old programming. And the subconscious mind is your autopilot. It responds, it does everything that you normally do without even you thinking about it, because it's something that is conditioned to do. So we want to be able to bypass the conditioning of the mind and reprogram that. And during the semi-lucid theta stage, this is when the brain is very susceptible to utilizing or implementing affirmations or words to be able to, again, change the belief system. Right before that analytical mind comes into place, because the analytical mind wants to question, it wants to feed, it wants to do all of these different things, and avoids the experience in itself. So we want to be able to not allow our analytical mind to come in and take over, but to be able to witness and experiencing something. So during the morning window between 5 a.m. or that semi-lucid state before you roll over, your alarm clock goes off, this will be a great time to actually do this. I always tell clients too that how you start off your morning also determines how your day is going to be. I always start my morning off speaking life into myself, setting my intentions for the day so that I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. When you don't do that, again, life is always going to be life on the outside world, right? So I need to be able to understand that, yes, something may transpire, but how am I going to respond to that? Again, is the most important piece, right? So I always like to start my morning off by setting my intention. So this will be a great way to prime yourself for the day ahead of yourself. So those of you who don't have a morning routine, this will be a great way to add this into your morning session. You also can do this at nighttime as well too. Our brain at nighttime is still processing the day. I need to send this email tomorrow morning. I need to check on this. So the analytical mind is still running. We're looking at all of the tasks that we need to complete. We're thinking about all of the things that we need to do or things that we didn't do. So our cortisol level is very high at this point in time. But when we, again, breathe or listen to frequency therapy, we can shift again from that beta to that alpha state, which the alpha state, again, is that rest and relaxation state. Not only does it have that rest and relaxation state, but our heart rate starts to lower down as well too. That allows us to get this deep restorative sleep. We heal while we're sleeping. So if we're not sleeping or get good quality of sleep, then that means we're not actually allowing the body to do what it's naturally supposed to do at nighttime: recover and repair itself. So at nighttime will be another great time to do this too, especially for those of you who do not have a nighttime routine. Again, we repeat thoughts. We have more conversations internally than we do externally. And if our beta mind is still thinking about all of the things that we didn't do or we are supposed to do, when we wake up in the morning, we're going to be having those same thoughts. So we need to be able to desensitize and be able to detach from what transpired throughout that day. So having some type of nighttime routine to allow yourself to, again, deregulate from what's going on, to shift it again from that beta to the alpha state will be most importantly for you as well too. And of course, we've done this during lunchtime, so this will be this can be done midday. So those of you who need working professionals and you need about a midday recheck, again, 12 minutes to do this, so you can actually do this on a lunch break and still have 45 minutes to maintain your lunch break. So this will, again, be a great way to do it in the morning time in that semi-lucid theta state, afternoon time just to get yourself a little boost of energy, and at nighttime to get yourself promoted to that alpha wavelength, to that theta, so that you can get you some restorative sleep in. The why, understanding the purpose behind cohesion, right? So first and foremost, I've mentioned again our nervous system. Our nervous system functions as the body's central hub. It comprises of the brain and it sends messages out to our extremities and to our overall body. So we want to be able to understand how the nervous system works. Within the nervous system, there's a branch called the autonomic nervous system, which means that these automatically happen. You don't have to think about it. It automatically happens without even conscious thought to it. The autonomic nervous system is, though, broken down into two specific branches: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. See, the sympathetic nervous system is our fight, flight, or freeze response. It increases our heart rate because it's perceiving a threat. It boosts our energy. It gives us what we need in order to take an action, to fight, to flight, or to freeze. Here's the thing about our body though, right? You can receive a email telling you that you lost your job, and you can be held at gunpoint. The brain and the body receive both threats the exact same way. It doesn't distinguish between the threat. It distinguishes there is a threat here. I need to respond. If it's a threat that I need to fight, that means my pupils are going to dilate so that I can perceive everything. My heart rate is going to increase because I need to push blood to the extremities so that it can fight off or can run. I need more energy in my body. My respiratory rates extends because I need to bring more air quality. I need more air or oxygen into the body, right? So the body is in this survivor mode. And most individuals, again, because we live in a stressful world, are in chronic stress, and their sympathetic nervous system is constantly moving and flowing in that fight or flight response. That is so much damage. That does so much damage to the cardiovascular system because it's producing and pushing so much blood out, and it is not necessarily needed in that particular moment because you're perceiving a threat. So you need to be able to downshift from a sympathetic to that parasympathetic, where our heart rate starts to slow down, respiratory starts to, because we're not perceiving a threat. We don't need to have dilated pupils. We don't need to bring in more oxygen. So the heart rate slows down. The respiratory rate slows down. The body can go through that digestive state, that relaxation state, because it's not perceiving a threat. So it's starting to calm down. Now, the good thing about the parasympathetic nervous system is and the autonomic nervous system is we can control shifts between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic by simply just breathing. As we breathe and bringing in oxygen, we can shift the body's nervous system from that fight and flight response to saying, hey, listen, relax. It's okay. You're not in a threat no more. It's okay. That's why you hear the saying, keep calm and just breathe, because that just breathing, again, shifts from that sympathetic into that parasympathetic nervous system. In Eastern practices, we also understand that the heart energy center is located at our center of our chest. So not only does it represent the cardiovascular system, the limbic system, the respiratory system, and the endocrine system, but it also gives energy to the heart, the veins, the arteries, the lungs, and the thymus glands. With this energy center, it's also known for its ability or to govern love, compassion, and emotional balance. It is the fourth energy center or the midpoint energy center. So it gives energy to our lower energy centers, which are around physicality, the third dimension, and it gives energies to our upper energy centers, which more are spiritual, fourth, fifth, and dimensional energy centers, right? And when we have a blockage in the fourth energy center, it blocks energies from the upper energy centers, it blocks energy in the lower energy centers, and the goal is to create a synchronized flow for all energy centers to be open and available to us, right? It gives us a feeling when we do have an open energy center. It gives us a feeling of openness, empathy, and the ability to have unconditional self-love for self and just unconditional love in general. On the other end of that, though, when we do have a block energy center, there are physical signs and symptoms that we may experience: chest tightness, shallow breathing, physical pains in our extremities, heart palpitation, high blood pressure, things that, again, that support the cardiovascular system. So it does have physical signs and symptoms to it. But again, this is all about emotions as well too, because what I've noticed in private practice and what I've noticed working with individuals is individuals who go through bad breakups, bad divorces, they have this inability, or they prevent themselves for giving forgiveness. Remember, forgiveness is never about someone else. It's always about yourself. But because individuals don't do forgive or hold this retaliatory energy to them, they have their emotional ability to not be able to forgive themselves, not be able to move past certain experiences, have this bitterness within themselves, social withdrawal, a fear of intimacy. This means that they also perceive the outside world in that same amount. So if I'm someone who can't forgive someone and who always feels that everyone is out to get me, how do you think I'm going to perceive the outside world? I'm going to be hyper defensive. I'm going to be codependent on someone's energy. I'm going to feel isolated because I'm withdrawn from society, right? So even though it has those physical signs and symptoms, but my heart, having a broke heart space, really and truly shows me how I view this world. I'm going to view this world in that fearful, intimidated, bitter, defensive mechanism, because again, I'm holding that energy. The saying is, as within, so without. So my external world is a representation of my internal world. If I can't forgive, if I can't move past my experience, if I'm holding up a bitterness, I view the outside world in that same regard. So it's always important that, again, we are aware of where there are blockages in this particular energy center. We also have the mind energy center, also known as the third eye, that governs our perception, that governs our intuition and mental clarity. It is governed by the endocrine system, and it gives energy to intellectual clarity, detachment from the ego, give energy to the pineal and the pituitary glands. And when we have this energy center in balance, not only does it improve our focus, gives us vivid imagination, and again, most importantly, clear decision making. Brain fog is something big in our society today, and brain fog prevents us from making proper decisions for ourselves. So we want to be able to clearly make the decisions for ourselves based off of, again, what we're witnessing. When we do have a black mind space, now we do have that mental fognesses. Most people report having dizziness, headaches, poor vision, seizures, and also disturbing of your sleep. Remember, the body heals while it's sleep, and if you're constantly ruminating in the mind, you're disturbing your sleep pattern because you're processing information when you're needing to be resting, right? And also with a negative or black mind space, negative thoughts. We have more conversations internally than we do externally, and if we're constantly repeating negative self-talk, fixed mindset, oh, I can't, it never works out me, and this and all of these negative things, we're constantly repeating those things. Tomorrow when we wake up, we're going to have those same same thoughts. So this is again another reason why we need to create a nighttime routine where we're able to detach from those thoughts so that we don't repeat those same thoughts tomorrow morning. And what happens is when we repeat those same thoughts tomorrow, we don't do our due diligence to deregulate from those. The next day, we're doing that. So then this becomes a cycle, and we're living in that same ruminating, negative looping, when ultimately we can choose to recognize the thoughts, detach from the thought, and then create a better thought for ourselves versus replaying those things over and over in our head. And with this center too, we also with blockages, we also rely overly on our logical mind. Granted, the logical mind is there to question things, but experiencing things are so much more better than just questioning certain things, right? And your intuition, all of us have an intuition. Some of us have been trained not to listen to it, but our intuition is very intelligent. It tells us exactly what we need to do, and we need to start to learn to listen to that intuition and not only think about things through the logical standpoint. Some things, yes, can be explained, but some things just simply need to be experienced and witnessed, because the one thing humans are supposed to do: learn, grow, and evolve. We only do those things through experiences. Only way you can do it is through experiences. So again, not all experiences are going to be favorable. Some of them are going to challenge you. However, being able to go through that experience, build mental resiliency, and showing up out of that experience is most importantly in this particular timeline. Okay. The how do we practice cultivating cohesions, right? As I mentioned, we are going to be utilizing noise cancellation headphones for this particular experience. I personally prefer that you utilize headphones that has the seal to it. You can utilize earbuds, but the purpose of a cohesion experience is in activating noise cancellation is to reduce the pollutions from the outside world. We have the fans going on, we have rain, we have all of the external sensories going on. So it's not, the brain does not have the ability to process all of the external stuff going on and then you trying to channel into your body. So having noise cancellation headphones allows you to reduce the pollution from the outside world, the traffics, the hums, the chatters, the buzzing, so that you can specifically focus on the internal frequency within your body. Okay. And again, for those of you who have noise sensitivity, adjust the headphone angle. You can adjust the angle of the headphones or simply changing the volume of the sound in which you're listening to. Breathing is going to be another piece to it. As I mentioned, breathing is taken care of through the autonomic nervous system, which means it automatically happens. It doesn't require you to think about it, it automatically happens. However, breathing is one of those things that we can control. We can control our breath. And by bringing awareness to our breath, we shift from that sympathetic fight, flight, freeze response to that parasympathetic that rests the digestive system. So the importance of getting good inhalation, inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouth, not only does it brings in oxygenation to the blood, but it also again exchanges that carbon dioxide for the oxygen within our body. Again, the body needs that. So it allows us to refreshen ourselves, to refreshing our blood, to bring oxygen not only to the extremities, but also to the brain. So good quality inhalation and exhalation is going to be needed for this experience. Before we start this session, remember also that this meditation utilizes frequency, and the secret is all about feeling it, right? Today, we're going to be utilizing a meditation by Brian Scott. He's going to be facilitating this particular meditation. I highly encourage you, as he's starting to discuss what this meditation is, as you start to listen to this meditation prior to the meditation starting, as you're leading into the discussion of the meditation, as he's discussing it, I want you to just think about and feel the frequency. Hear it in your ear, but also realize that, again, on the cellular level, your cells are constantly in vibration and state. So I want you to feel the frequency in your body. We want the nervous system to kick in so that, again, it coordinates your thinking, it coordinates the movement. So as you're listening to the frequency, feel it in the body. The secret is the feeling in itself. So tune into your body and feel the frequency as you're experiencing it. Okay. All right, so it is now time for us to experience this. Understand it again. I am going to add this I'm going to add this video to the link. I highly encourage that you utilize the link and you go directly to the meditation for yourself. As I mentioned, this is utilizing frequency, so there is going to be some distortion from my computer, from the internet to your computer or your personal device. There will be some distortion there. So do your best to log directly to the website, onto the website, and play it directly to your device from the experience. I'm going to play it here, and I'm going to count us all in. So go ahead and bring it up for us. Bring it up. Go ahead, get yourself comfortable, and I'm going to count us in on a count of 3, and we're all going to hit play at the same time and enjoy this experience. So on a count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Reality Revolution. This is your host, Brian Scott, and today I wanted to create a shorter heart coherence meditation based on my discussion with Dawson Church and research by the Heart Math Institute. There is a very specific technique that can be used to place your heart into coherence with the mind. So the brain waves and the heart rate become in sync. They can see when that happens that your intentions become much stronger and your heart and mind become unified. So I'm going to invite you to begin. Begin, as we do so often, by allowing us to move our attention, to shift our attention from the world around us to the world within us. I invite you to allow your awareness to go from your thinking mind into your feeling heart. What we're going to do is harmonize 2 separate organs to create a potent system. The neurons of the heart and the neurons of the brain into a single system. So I invite you to shift your awareness for your mind and your heart. Right now I invite you to touch your heart gently with a fingertip, with a hand, or palm, as I'm doing now. Just allow your awareness to go to the place where you feel that touch. This is the secret to touching your heart. Your awareness will always automatically go to your heart. Now, I want you to slow your breathing, slower than usual. 5 to 6 seconds on the inhale. Pause. Release. Inhale. Pause. Release. If you could continue breathing just about that pace as we go about this process with an incredible technology. With these 2 steps, we shift the awareness into our heart and we send a powerful signal to our body to slow our breathing. We tell our body that we are safe, that we're in a place of safety. When your body feels that sense of safety, it's like a switch that changes the chemistry to rejuvenation and healing. The 3rd step is the key to harmonizing the heart and the brain. With this 3rd step, I'm inviting you to feel a feeling. Choose to feel a positive feeling. In the laboratory, researchers have found if you can feel a feeling of gratitude or appreciation or care, compassion, gratitude, appreciation, care, compassion. And on this day, as we invoke those feelings within us, because we choose to feel, on this day, it's easy to find what we can be grateful for. If you can feel the gratitude for the peace that is present, appreciate the peace that is already present, the care for our brothers and sisters, compassion for those that are going through the process of learning what it means to live in peace to the best of your ability. And the key to this exercise is to hold an active focus with that feeling as you breathe in your heart. Is the feeling and the breath are coming from the place of the touch. I'm going to give us just a moment to anchor this together in silence and music with this frequency. Don't forget to breathe. As you continue to breathe and hold this feeling, I'm inviting you to consider, in this moment, you are doing something no other form of life on this planet can do. Conscious intention. It's so ancient, it's so primal, and it's so natural. Harmonize the heart and brain to bring our being into resonance with the planet that we're on. Continue breathing. Continue to align your heart and mind. Breathing in for 6 seconds. And exhaling for 6 seconds. Anchoring this feeling. Expanding the energy field, feeding this field around you generated by the power of your heart. Hold this field, feed it, and expand it for as long as you can. Open your eyes when you're ready and go out into the world and have just the most incredibly joyful and wondrous day. And welcome to the Reality Revolution.
All right. So if you can, please come back to the presentation. Hopefully this was a great experience for you. One of the things that I always tell my clients after practicing a meditation is to simply hydrate yourself first and foremost and write down your experience. It's great to observe what's going on by writing it down. You can talk about things that you experienced, things that may came up during your meditation, things that you liked about it, things that you want to do differently. I have what we call a rule of three or power of three form when it comes down to meditation. The first time we experience something, we automatically go into it with some type of biases. We have some type of expectation for, so we don't necessarily get to experience it in the way in which needed to experience. The second time we do something, we've done it before, we've experienced it a little bit, so now we're not necessarily questioning it, but we're allowing ourselves to do or experience it. And the third time, in the third and beyond, we become masters of it. We can then tailor it and make it fit our needs. All meditations are a guiding point for us, right? Being able to learn a tool, something that we can do, and then we adapt it to meet our needs. And when you journal down and reflect down, you can pay attention to what's going on. So hydrate yourself and write it down, okay? As always, I thank you all for this experience, and thank you all for participating in the experience. I will encourage you again to practice this consistency over the next 12 to 14 days. The goal is to create a habit or routine for yourself. Okay. If you need more assistance, selflovehealingarts.com. You can visit my website there. And those of you who are interested in more heart mind research, the Heart Math Institution is a great resource for you to do that. Okay. Until our next visit, I will see you all. Hopefully, you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Feel free to send me your reflections or your thoughts in our newsletter. Okay. Be great, my beautiful people. I'll talk to you then.